Hello. So in this video, I was going to tell my story about being an immigrant from Europe. I was born in Hungary, in Budapest, Hungary, and we came to the US in '86. And I was going to just kind of tell a little bit about that, like how or why we immigrated and like how what that was like, you know. So in Hungary, my mom was in a pretty bad, like, domestically abusive relationship at the time. And I mean, she was married to a very, violent alcoholic guy. And this the guy after my dad. My dad, I don't really know that much about him. I seen him around and stuff, but I didn't really, he didn't seem to want to have anything to do with me and stuff. So anyway, so my mom marries this guy. I think I was about, maybe five or 6 years old, probably, when she married him. And pretty soon, I remember things starting to get chaotic, even though, like, I don't think his full true colors came out yet, but, like, I was noticing that, okay, like, I'm sorry I'm all over the place, so I apologize. It's a little hard to follow this when, like, you're bouncing back and forth, but I don't know, I still would rather just make these videos, like, random, because that's just how I am, like, I don't know. Anyway, so, okay, so, like, so she marries this guy, and things start getting chaotic, and she moves in with them. We move into an apartment, and it was really, that's when things got really, crazy, and he started coming home drunk every night and, beating up my mom, and I never saw it, but I heard it, like, me and my brother would be running up the stairs, like, if we knew that he was coming home, so, like, I feel like a lot of my memory from that time is kind of, like, missing. It's almost like I remember stuff, but not as good as I should, I don't know. But anyway. Okay, so, after, my mom ended up having, like, 2 more kids with this guy. Like, she had me and my full brother, from her first marriage to my dad, and then she had 2 more kids with this violent guy, and I think, like, after a few years, she realized, like, she had to get out of this, and, like, the authorities and stuff in Budapest, I don't think they really did anything I don't think she really had any way to, like, escape this guy, like from what I remember, like, that she was pretty much, like, in danger of, like, because abusers, like, it becomes, or it starts to escalate, like the abuse starts to escalate, and then when you try to leave these people is when they get really crazy, Anyway, so I think after a few years with this guy, my mom finally was like, I gotta get the hell out of here. And I want to get as far away from this guy as possible, And so she, one day, I think she'd kind of been preparing for a little while, to leave and whatever. But one day she just takes me and my younger brother out of school, and she grabbed as little as possible. She just grabbed some clothes for us, not a lot, because she didn't want it to be obvious to that guy that we left, she didn't want him to know anything. So we took a cab all the way to the border of Austria and Hungary. And yeah, that was crazy. I think one cab driver offered to help, because we were I think one cab only could take us so far, and then we were walking for a while, and then this other cab picked us up, and the guy felt sorry for my mom or something and took us all the way to the border. And anyway, so we get to Austria, and we had to kind of sit in a jail for a little while to make sure that my mom's not a criminal fleeing Hungary, So she, everything was fine, and then we got out of there, we found a place, and she found a job and everything, and we were put in this, we were put into school. So now I was in a different school with a different language. I think it was German. So I went to German school for a little while, and that was, and oh my God, it was so bad. Because I don't know, I just didn't, between me and my brother, I'd say I was the one that had the most difficulty adjusting to all this change and everything, to the chaos, and anyway, so with her other two boys, she left them with family over there because she couldn't take all four of us. I think it would have just been too hard, Anyway, from Austria, she applied to come to the U.S., and so we were there for about 6 months or something, and I don't know, I kind of liked Austria. It was really beautiful, there was just a lot of foresty beauty, and a lot of it was just really pretty out there. I forgot what city it was that we were in, but it was really pretty. Anyway, so while we're there, my mom meets a guy, and he ended up moving in with us, and that I didn't really think anything of it, at that time. I didn't think, I guess I didn't like him, but I was whatever, Anyway, so we finally get accepted we get accepted into the U.S., and there was a church in Rapid City, South Dakota that was our sponsor. So that's where we ended up coming to, and whenever we first got here, they were really nice, and the church was really helpful, and it was a Catholic church, I believe, yeah, Catholic church. And yeah, so they set us up, you know, we were like staying in a house like for a little while, and like, and then I got to go to yet another, you know, like, now this was like the third school with a different language, you know. Like in like the span of a year or something, you know, I ended up going to 3 different like schools with 3, you know, because I had, you know, my school in Hungary where I started 2nd grade. I think it was 2nd grade. Did I start 2nd grade there? I don't. It's all jumbled up in that, about that, like when like, so that year was really like, I think it was just pretty, it was pretty hard because there was just a lot of changes, you know, and a lot of adjustment. And anyway, so it was actually like, when we first got here, we were put into Catholic school, you know, to finish out like that year of school, like my 2nd grade year. And I had this really nice lady, like she was Asian, and she was like my tutor, helping me to learn English. I remember that as, you know, that was a good memory, because she was like so patient, you know. Anyway, so like pretty soon we were put on welfare, you know, because there's no way like we could afford to live in that house where we were at and stuff. So we got moved into Section 8 housing and got enrolled in the public school and everything. And that was, you know, it was the kids in public school were pretty, I mean, they were really nice. They really were like, I didn't really have like a bad time like with the other students, but I felt like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I just felt like I needed like extra help still, like adjusting to everything, you know. But the students, like the other kids, weren't really that. Like, they were actually pretty nice, and they knew like I didn't know how to speak English yet that well and everything. Like, it took a few years for me and my brother to kind of like, maybe a couple of years, few years before we were like pretty fluent, you know. And like, I remember we were teaching my mom, you know, because she was already 40 by this time, so it was really hard for her to learn a whole new language, but we picked it up pretty quick because we were young, you know. Like, anyway, so then, okay, so this guy that my mom, you know, brought with her from Austria, like, turned out to be a pedophile. And of course he, you know, he picked me, you know, and God, so like that happened like right after we got done, like I got done with 2nd grade. That first summer that we were here, that started happening. You know, as soon as we moved into that Section 8 housing, that guy was starting to sexually molest, you know, sexually abuse me and whatever. So then by 3rd grade, or like the start of 3rd grade, I mean, I was starting to like have PTSD symptoms, and like I couldn't, like I was starting to have real serious issues. So I mean, it wasn't like it wasn't bad. I mean, like, it was bad enough that, you know, there was all that adjustment to a whole new culture and everything, and a new language, and, you know, but then, like, you start getting sexually abused too, you know, as a little kid. And then, like, I think that made school, like, even more difficult, because now I'm dealing with this trauma, you know, at home. So, like, finally, around that fall, the guy, like, my mom and him had a falling out, and he, like, disappeared, and we went to the women's shelter, and we stayed there. Like, we stayed there for a little while, and then when we came back to the apartment, he had disappeared, which I was like, thank you, you know. I was like, thank God, because, you know, finally, like, I was not having to worry about this guy, you know, trying to, like, fondle me and, you know, all that. Oh my God, I'm sorry, I had to, like, I get a flashback when I even bring it up. It's like, anyway, so it was really, really hard, you know, because now, okay, my mom's alone, and she got a job right away. She was cleaning motel rooms, you know, and we were on welfare, and oh my God, it was so hard for the early years, you know, just all the adjustment. Anyway,